Election day is tomorrow, but it's a little bit further out for our next guest, and she's running for the New York 21st Congressional District. Elise Stefanik's on the phone. Good morning, Elise. How are you?
Good morning, guys. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, Elise, I've been, I've had a couple people, reaching out to me and say, hey, what do you know about this young lady that's running against Bill Owens out in the 21st? And I said, I don't know anything, but I would love to get to know her and introduce her to our audience. So, Elise, give us your background and why you're jumping in the congressional race.
Sure. So I'm proud to say I was born and raised in upstate New York. I'm the first member of my family to have the opportunity to go to college. And I work at my family's small business, which is called Premium Plywood Products. It was started by my parents, and I grew up around the business. We're one of the largest wholesale distributors of hardwood plywoods. We sell to construction companies, to kitchen cabinet makers, furniture manufacturers. So we have a real pulse, a feeling of the pulse of the economic challenges in upstate New York. I'm running for Congress because I think we desperately need new leadership in Washington. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, we need change. Just look at the recent government shutdown. I think everyone was appalled that while private businesses have to work day to day, the government is unable to come to agreements on important issues like federal spending. And I'm also running because we have a member of Congress who has voted for Obamacare, and as millions of Americans and many in the 21st District are getting their Obamacare cancellation plans, including my small business, I think that needs to stop, and we need common sense health care reform. So I'm excited to be a new voice. I think we need to change all the leadership in Washington, and I'd love to take some more questions.
Now, how do you? I mean, if elected, being a freshman going onto the Hill, how do you influence others to go along with the way you're thinking on this?
Well, politics is changing with the help of social media and with Twitter and Facebook. Freshman members of Congress have more of a voice than they ever have before. I plan on being a voice for the floor, and the first piece of legislation I'd like to introduce is that congressmen and women should live by the same laws they pass on the American public, because right now we have a Congress who passes backdoor deals and subsidies for Obamacare, for example, so they don't have to live by the same health care rules that average American workers do.
Would you classify yourself as a moderate Republican, conservative Republican, more in line with the Tea Party? Where do you stand politically, Elise?
I'm a proud Big Ten conservative. I am very conservative. I think we have serious issues in this country with our government spending. But I'm an open tent new Republican. I think we need new leadership across the board. We need a new generation of people stepping up to the plate, because the decisions that are being made today, the kicking the can down the road, it's a tax on my generation, and me and my children are going to be paying for it.
Frank?
Elise, can you give us your background in politics?
Sure. So I'm the first member of my family to work in public policy. I had the privilege of serving under President George W. Bush in the Chief of Staff's office. I've worked at various think tanks in Washington, and I most recently headed up Paul Ryan's debate prep for the vice presidential debate with Vice President Joe Biden.
How does that inside kind of the inside the White House experience help translate into the congressional run that you're looking at?
I'm passionate about ideas and ways that we can fix the problems in our country, so I've always been involved on the policy side. I think it arms me with the skill set to be able to win this election. Already, the Democratic campaign arm of Congressman Owens has been targeting me and put out mudslinging robocalls against me, because I think they understand that they're worried. We have a member of Congress who is silent on the key issues and votes against the interests of the hardworking families in the 21st Congressional District. And I view my experience as a strength, because I've seen firsthand that Washington is broken, both from my perspective growing up in a small business, but in Washington I've seen problems. And I think we need leaders who are willing to stand by their convictions and have the courage of their convictions to stand up for the constituents they represent.
Elise, you've been able to raise an impressive amount of money in a very short period of time, especially in comparison to your opponent. But can you explain to us what has your strategy been in regard to fundraising, and how will you employ this money?
My strategy has been, I appreciate the support from everyone, no matter what political party. So I'm proud to have donors who are Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, and independents. And I'm also proud to have donors from every single county in the district. This is the largest congressional district on the East Coast. It goes from Watertown all the way to Plattsburgh, all the way down to parts of Saratoga County. So I've been very aggressive in terms of traveling around the district and earning the support. I raised almost a little more than half of that money online. So again, I think that speaks to new skill sets that are representative of my generation. I raised much of that using links on Facebook or using email blasts. So I'm very proud of the money that I've raised. And right now, unfortunately, campaigns cost money. And I need to save that money for advertisements and getting out my message over the course of this next year.
With the midterm election coming up, this is going to be I think this is going to be one of those highly contested seats that you're going to see identified on the national level. Are you ready for? Are you ready for that kind of pressure coming into this?
I am ready for that kind of pressure, and again, that's where I think not being completely new to the world of public policy and having seen politics at the highest level, the good and the bad, prepares me for that. I got into this race understanding that you have to have a thick skin, but what's more important is I have the courage to fight for my beliefs, and I don't think our representation I think we need change. I think we deserve better.
Elise, you said you've been traveling the district, which is northern New York,
yes.
Stretching a pretty wide distance, Watertown, Plattsburgh. What are you hearing from constituents within the district?
Overwhelmingly, I'm hearing frustration with Washington. People have the sentiment of throw them all out, so I agree with you. I think the midterms are going to be an anti-incumbent year rather than an anti-Democrat or anti-Republican. I think people are finally fed up with the go-along, get-along attitude in Washington and the fact that our members of Congress live by different rules. I'm also hearing frustration from small businesses who feel that there's government overreach in terms of regulations, in terms of taxes, and most devastatingly in terms of Obamacare. Again, people who may have voted Democratic or for President Obama, they're having second thoughts now that they're getting their cancellation plans and their health care plan, which they like. It turns out it's not true when the president said if you like your plan, you can keep it. Plans are being canceled, and a government-approved plan is being forced upon people, which is causing taxpayers to have to foot the bill. I'll give you an example. We have under 20 employees. It's a true small business. We are really a team, and we've taken pride in providing comprehensive health care coverage to our employees. We received a notification that our health care plan will be canceled. So now, as a small business, we will be forced to pay more for a health care plan, which we'll either be forced to not reinvest that money into our company to hire more people or to pass along the increased cost to the employees. That's a lose-lose situation. It doesn't allow us to hire more people, and the employees shouldn't have to foot the bill. So again, I'm hearing overwhelmingly, I see it in the letters to the editor, in the local papers. I hear it from people as I meet with them. They're frustrated and they want new leadership.
Elise, you indicated that you are the first person of your family to graduate from college. Where did you go to college, and what is your degree?
I went to Harvard, and the accomplishment is not going to Harvard. The accomplishment is coming out of Harvard and staying a conservative and a Yankee fan.
I was going to say those are two big rocks to come out of Harvard with, because you hear somebody go to Harvard, you're like, oh, that tree hugging liberal over at Harvard probably likes the Red Sox, but that's not the case, huh?
Nope, I'm still a diehard Yankees fan, and I stuck to my upstate values there. So I was proud to graduate from Harvard. It was a great experience, but I graduated with a degree in government.
Excellent. Elise, where can they go to find more information on your candidacy leading up to the midterm elections next year?
You can go to EliseForCongress.com. You can follow me on Facebook at Elise for Congress and on Twitter at Elise Stefanik.
Excellent. Elise, thanks so much for joining us today, and we'll be keeping tabs on your progress leading up to that election. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, Elise.
Excellent, Elise. Thank you.
Bye.
Our initial reaction, Frank, I was impressed. That's the first time we've spoken. Very polished. Very articulate. And that's going to be a big seat. I think that's already been identified as one to watch on the national level with Bill Owens out there in the 21st. Interesting. It's already heating up, Frank.
It is.